Theuns Hybrid. Ek gaan basies meer Engels as Afrikaans praat, van meeste van die terminology in boeke is mos ongelukkig Engels, maar ek sal 'n bietjie verwysing tussen Engels en Afrikaans maak. Ek wil leer van 3 klanke en 4 klanke in hierdie les. Daar is basiese dinge wat ek wil weet dat jy ken, soos byvoorbeeld die major scale. Ek sit hierdie noot by, want dit is deel van die toonleer anyway, al is dit verby die volgende oktaaf. So ek sit hom by van, as ek wil 'n bietjie prakties speel, dan weet jy daarvan, ek is gewoond om daardie noot gebruik. Okay, so your major scale, hierdie noot is C major scale, wat ek nou net gespeel het, en semitones en tones, ek dink jy weet van hulle, van C tot C kruis is 'n semitone, van C tot D is 'n tone, so 'n semitone is 1 fret, die fret langs aan hom, en 'n tone is 2 frets weg. Okay, so A tot B, tone, A tot B mol, semitone. Okay. Nou, hoe hulle die drukke maak? Ons praat van 3 klanke, en as ons dink aan 3 klanke, is dit ons 3 note. So as ek 'n druk so C speel, dit is eintlik 'n 3 klank, al is daar 6 note. Kom ons wys hoekom. Ons het die noot C, G, C, E, G, nog 'n C. So al is daar 6 note, daar is net 3 verskillende note, en dit is al wat ons nodig het om die 3 klank te maak. So ons sien nie die oktaafs nie as ander note, ons werk net op 3 verskillende note. So again, in English, the difference between a triad and a 6-note chord is a triad means 3 notes, but 3 different notes. And as we explained, C, G, C, E, G, C, even though 6 different notes, there's only, well, 6 notes, sorry, there's only 3 different notes being C, E, and G. Now, let's see how those notes come from the C major scale. So ons gaan terug C major toe. Dat is my C, en ons gaan C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Bietjie van Engels Afrikaans gemeng. And here we go again, one more time. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And we don't just take any 3 notes, we take every alternative note of the C major scale. So you take C, skip the D, E, skip the F, G. Now I've got 3 notes, C, E, and G. And those are the same notes that we used in the C triad. What we've learned so far, we've learned semitones, we've learned tones, we've learned the major scale, we've learned I like adding the extra note, obviously you want to play it backwards as well, and we've learned that your triad is built from using 3 notes of the major scale, and the 3 notes specifically are every alternative note, the first note, 3rd note, and the 5th note. So when those are talking about 1, 3, 5s and flattened thirds and those things, they're referring to the notes in the major scale. So the major scale note positions are important. You're going to need that for jazz voicing. They start talking about a 9th, for example. You're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they want that note to be in the C 9th chord. So if I'm taking a normal C like this, for example, just focus there, and I want to add the 9, here's my note. C add 9, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's where the numbers come in. The numbers refer to the positions in the major scale. Okay, back to triads. That's our goal and purpose for this lesson. Okay, starting on C, C, E, and G. And again, if you're playing the chord, C, E, G, and you're adding in the octave C, E, and you could even put the G under the pinky if you really wanted to get fancy. Okay, it's just nice to have a little bit of extras. It's nice to know the notes on the guitar neck. I notice in your video you're playing really, really well already, but I don't know what you do know, what you don't know. So if I'm repeating a bit of the obvious, just bear with me as we get to know each other a bit better. Everything will start making better sense for you. Okay, and for me as well to explain. So to revise, major scale, to build a major chord, every alternative note, and the chord is built from the 1st, third, and fifth note of that major scale. Now we're going to go to minor triads. Now we're going to stay with C because what's unique about C is that C has got no sharps and flats. Daar is geen kruis of molle in die C major sleutel nie. So as ons nou skielik 'n mol het of 'n kruis het, dan kan ons die verskil makliker erken. So we're going to take the third note now and flatten it, and that's what they do when they go from C major to C minor. So if I'm playing a normal C bar chord like this, which I'm sure you know, make it nice and clear. If I want to minor it, I'll lose the middle finger. You can hear the sound there. Got a sort of deeper, sadder sound. I can play a C major like this, for example, as well. Play a C minor like that. And again, something's changed. Now, I don't know what theory you do know, so like I said, just bear with me. But what they do for the minor is they take the third note, 1, 3, and they flatten it. So they take that E and they make them E flat, E mol. So C major, 1, 3, 5, C minor, 1, flat, 3, 5. There's my flat, 3, 5. But that stretch is quite a wide stretch. I don't like that stretch. So we're going to take this note that the first finger is showing, and we're going to stick it here. That's E flat, that's E flat. So we're going to go, and I'll do a minor arpeggio there. Major, nice and happy, minor, sad, nice and positive, major, nice and negative, for the minor. Okay, that's the classical terminology. So if you hear classical talking about happy and sad, major versus minor, that's the terminology they've attributed to major and minor chords. Nou this note, daar die E mol wat ons gepraat het, as ons die C major gespeel het, en ons verander na C minor, die noot wat verskil, is daardie noot, en daardie noot is mos, ons E mol. So dis wat gebeur het. So one more time, iets anders wat ek wil baie graag aanleer. Ek wil weer die C major arpeggio. Ek gaan die oktaaf nou bysit. Dis mos C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So your C major arpeggio that I want you to learn is, and the C minor arpeggio, there's your E flat. So learn them, play them. And I also want you to learn to play them in a different position. Now, we're staying with C, like I said, for the next few seconds. And I'm going to go to C here. And again, same shape for the major. C, E, G, C. And then for C minor, C, E flat, G, C. So you'll notice that the sequence of the fingers are sort of exactly the same. It's only when you start bringing in the B string that your arpeggio shape changes. Now later when we start looking into exercises on arpeggios, we can learn to play them with more stretches like this. This is also C major, for example. It's a nice long stretch from here to here. But we don't want to do too much of that now. The mission of here was to learn the difference in a major and minor chord. We want to learn that major is the first, third, and fifth note of the major scale. And we wanted to learn that minor is the first flattened third and fifth note of the scale. And that's your two basic triads for starters. We'll later deal with diminished and augmented and sus2s and sus4s later. Okay. Now I want to go one step further into chords. If we think on 4 klank, die nommer 4, 4, quarter is also 4. So you take again every alternative note until you got 4 notes. 1, 3, 5, 7. That's the positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you take those 4 notes, C, E, G, B, and you combine them to get a C chord. Now, these are the first, third, and fourth, first, third, fifth, and seventh notes, of the major scale. So if I'm playing C down here, for example, there's my C major. Nice dreamy, nice jazz sound. Another way of playing C. Another way of doing it there, compared to here. Ek hou nie van hierdie een baie nie. It's nie my gunsteling nie. But anyway, alles is personal opinion. So you got your C major, C minor, C major 7, C major, C minor, C major 7. We know that major is 1, 3, 5 octave, when a minor is 1 flat 3, 5 octave. We know that major 7 is a chord triad because it's got 4 different notes, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th octave. That 7th note is the added extra note into the whole thing. Okay, we got that. So now is your next arpeggio. Learn that one. C, E, G, B octave and back. So nice pinky exercise as well to do. If I want to minor that, I flatten the 3rd, and if I want to make it a minor 7, I add a flattened 7th too. So I take this, here's my flattened 3rd, my 7th is here, the B, ek wil hom B-mol, so it's a flattened 7, and I get this. That's the minor 7th arpeggio, C, E flat, G, B flat, octave. So C major arpeggio, C minor 7. And the reason I'm starting everything on C is for comparison purposes, that you can hear the sounds. And then again on the chord shapes, if I play it down here for example, there's my C major, C major 7, C minor 7. Obviously it's got a bit of a different tonality because it's a minor with a minor 7, so that's pretty cool. And just a quick little fun over there, if you want to go from C major to B minor 7, oh, sounds cool. Nice little jazzy sort of type of conflict, but we'll go into more serious jazz later. Okay, and lastly, the 7th, in other words, C7. Now C7 is not C major 7. It's a C major triad with a flattened 7th. So you go 1, 3, 5, flatten the 7. That is C7, and its correct full name is C dominant 7. C dominant, ek weet nie wat dominant is in Afrikaans nie, dominant, as dit dominant 7. And that's basically, soos ek gesê het, is a major triad, maar jou 7th is gemol, so instead of having B, you have B flat. And then you can hear C major 7 and C7. En die dominant 7th is baie gewild met blues, baie keer van jazz ook. Dominant 9th also very nice. Things like that, the Hendrix scored the dominant with a sharper 9th. But anyway, back to the plot. C7 is not C major 7, that's C major 7. So they sound similar, but they're not the same. Okay, quick revision on this one to sum up what I want us to know. You've got your major triad, 1, 3, 5, add the octave. Minor triad, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, octave. Oh, I shouldn't have put the 7th in there. Should have been a minor triad, 1, flat 3, 5, octave. Now we're going to go to the 7th. Sorry about that. Major 7 first, 1, 3, 5, 7th note, B, octave, dominant 7, 1, 3, 5, flatten the 7th, B flat, B-mol, octave, and now the minor 7, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, and octave. Okay, there we go. But learn these arpeggios, try and play them in succession. And later we'll go to diminished 7s, minor 7 flat 5s, and all the other pretty cool things. But that's lesson number 1. What I want you to do now is to let me know what you do know and what you don't know. So let me know en sê vir my, en ek het daardie geken, maar hierdie was nie vir my. En ek gaan ook vir jou tweede les deurstuur met 'n bietjie van 'n technical application, dat jy kan ook 'n bietjie oefeninge ook inwerk. Okay, good. Have an awesome day and wait for video number 2. Dankie.